looks like I have a lot more calendula flowers to harvest. It's amazing that these guys are so hardy. I'll find them sometimes blooming as late as January on my plot, and they just add that little bit of extra color. They're edible, of course, as well, and fantastic in skincare. So it is the middle of November here at the allotment. It's starting to get nippy. It's a lot milder here than it is in many of your gardens. Some people have been saying that they have snow. We haven't even had our first frost yet, as far as I'm aware of. But everything is starting to die down, but I have a little bit more time to pick up on tasks that I know need to get done. So today I've been cutting down the dahlias, also raspberries, and mulching them. I'm going to leave the dahlia tubers in the ground. You can do that in milder climates, and a mulch will tend to protect them. You've got to keep your fingers crossed though that you don't get super cold weather. Raspberries, they need to be cut down every year, the autumn fruiting ones, especially in places that have really windy sites. So here you can tell already from today, my hair blowing around in the wind, it is quite windy up here. And those canes will be knocked around by the wind in the winter and it will dislodge the roots. So it's important to cut them down. You can, in calmer sites, leave a few and they'll produce a few berries early on in the season. But mine are all coming down this year. There's lots of other things that I need to get done in the allotment garden. But what I thought I would do today, because it's been another month, is to take you on a full tour around the plot. I'll show you what's happening. And then since I haven't done it in a while, let's have a walk around the allotment site and see what other people are up to on their plots as well. So here's my herb bed. You can see really hardy rosemary here in the front, sage, the last of the chives are just hanging on, and then loads of calendula flowers. These guys will last through the winter in milder climates, like I've already said, and they'll continue blooming next year. But they also throw down quite a few seeds. So these seed heads, when they mature, they'll drop down to the ground, and I'm sure there are literally thousands down there right now. And then that way they will regrow again next year. You can give them to friends and just let them do their own thing, and then collect those beautiful flowers for all kinds of different recipes and projects. Look at how beautiful this rainbow chard is. It's really hardy. So it will be here standing in the ground, uncovered, and still producing greens throughout the winter. In colder places, you do want to mulch it and protect it, but this is a green that you can have in your garden practically all the year round. Over in this netted area, I've got various spinaches. I have beetroot still in here, some pak choi. In the back, there's even some kale and purple sprouting broccoli. This spinach is something new that I grew this year. I'm gonna go and give you a little bit of a closer look. So it's called an Oriental Harp spinach, and it is a lot tougher than your average spinach. It tastes delicious, it has a really nice flavor, and I can see that it is going to be quite hardy as well. And it has stems that are similar to chard in a way, but a lot smaller. This is definitely a keeper, I would say. I like tough veg that can take care of themselves. Most of my beds are tidied now, and I've put manure on as a mulch, and it's been on for quite a few weeks, so the wet weather has actually softened it and made it into kind of a blanket. And it's going to serve that purpose over the winter in protecting the soil, stopping weeds from germinating, and then come spring, I'll be planting directly into this mulch layer. Now over here is where I had my dahlias this year, and I've cut down the tall stems, and they're all here. They'll be going into the compost. And I've cut them down because of wind rock and also because they're not really needed anymore for the plant. You can see one was here, so I've left some of the stems. And the tubers themselves are fairly shallow, so I might actually come back and put even more manure mulch on here just to protect them. But I've had pretty good luck with overwintering dahlias just direct in the ground here. It's not really that cold here. And then they'll regrow next year. I think what a lot of people were surprised about is that these dahlias that grew on my plot this year, they came from seeds. So these I started off in April, and they're already pretty big sized tubers. So if you were interested in maybe trying to grow dahlias from seeds, it's definitely something that is doable. You don't have to put all the money into buying expensive tubers. If you have the time and inclination, you can start most things off from seed. I had to readjust the netting on this bed yesterday because the wind had actually pulled it off. I actually found a pheasant underneath the netting, pecking at some of the leaves. Now, in here I have a few kale, and I'm already starting to pick it and use it in dishes at home. But there's also in the back purple sprouting broccoli, which won't actually be producing until early next year. And then I also have these purple Brussels sprouts, and let's have a closer look at them. This is my first year growing purple Brussels sprouts. I've not yet tasted them, but they look pretty nice. They're a variety called Red Bull, and I've got 3 in here. I didn't stake them, so they're a little bit wonky, but that's all right. I'm not too bothered. And then there's a little one over here. If you recall earlier in the summer, I nearly lost all of these guys because we had a storm, and I actually had to firm them back in and hope that they'd regrow. But I'll be interested to see what they taste like. And they're just so beautiful. If I like the flavor, then these guys will make a reappearance on the plot next year. Something that I need to get done over the winter is tidy up these thornless blackberry canes. So they fruit on second-year wood, and then eventually the stems die and they turn brown, and then you've got to remove them, and you can see a dead one down here. You take this out, and then you tie in the newer canes to the wires. These guys have done really well this year. It was a great year for soft fruit, and they're really filling in this blackberry trellis that I built last winter. Now, if you recall from a previous video, I mentioned about maybe giving up this new half plot that I have over here. Well, I've changed my mind, as you'll have guessed, because I've started planting it up with garlic and onions and shallots. I've not gotten to finishing it just yet, but there's a bit more time. And then this side over here, it's kind of gone back to grass, but this will be my next project, covering this. And then the plan next year is to grow potatoes over here. Potatoes are a really good crop for kind of opening up the earth, and I plan on doing no-dig gardening over here as well. And my experiment with no-dig potato growing this year was so good, the results were fantastic, that I'm totally hooked. I'm sold on the idea of no-dig gardening. In fact, I was just touting its virtues to a prospective new allotmenteer about an hour ago. So this won't be as messy and grassy next year, trust me. Shall we go have a look at the compost pile? I've had a couple people asking about it. I built this compost pile earlier in the year out of wood pallets, and I've not turned it or anything. I've just let it do its thing. I've just thrown on whatever grass or waste I have from the allotment and just let it kind of rot down and let little organisms convert it into something that's a little bit more usable in the garden. And just digging down a little bit, you can see that there's good compost in there. There's a lot of this kind of tougher stuff though, so I'll need to pull that out, and I'll put it in its own pile and then use what I can on my beds. There's a lot of plots that have been covered, and we do this to keep weeds down and to make them more desirable to prospective tenants. And there is a big kind of debate over plastic, especially in the allotment. I have a video on where I walked around our site and found so much rubbish, but I really do support solarizing the soil like this because it does save a lot of time and it cuts down on weeds and it protects the soil as well. It all looks rather grim, to be fair. Everything dying down, but that is just the way things are in the winter time. Oh, look here. This is our chairman's plot, and he's brought seaweed in as a mulch, and that is a great use of something that we have free here on the beaches of the island. It's interesting. I think people in the United States, they don't tend to plant onions and garlic this time of the year. In Britain, almost everyone does, and that's just it's a climate thing. We've got very mild summers and mild winters as well, so getting those onion sets in now kind of extends the season and gives them a head start. So if you are watching allotment videos and seeing lots of people planting onions and you are just confused and don't know what's going on, that's your answer. Oh, this is where he must have planted his onions. So he's got the netting over it because birds love to come and dig things up. You can see one of the onion sets down there. So those are little tiny mini onions, and that is the most popular way of growing onions, at least here. You can also grow them from seed, but it does take a little bit longer. This is our treasurer's plot, and it looks like the wind has whipped his netting off of his brassicas. I'm gonna have to let him know so he can come back and sort these guys out. But look at this. He's got some very early purple sprouting broccoli. Purple sprouting broccoli is a crop that crops in the winter and early spring, depending on the variety. There's some more over here. And you pick each one of these off, and I'm not going to take his, and they regrow more and more and more over the winter. You'll get sick of them. Actually, you won't, but it is a great winter crop. Purple sprouting broccoli, make sure to put it on your to-grow list if you don't have it in your garden already. Here we have some cabbage, and it's protected by netting, which is very smart, because don't those leaves just look delectable? November is definitely a time for brassicas. It's a time for purple sprouting broccoli, for kale and cabbage, Brussels sprouts. It's a time for hardier veg, like leeks. Sometimes you get hardy flowers like those calendula that we saw earlier. It's also a time for preparing for next year, so getting in those onion sets and garlic. There's just so much to do. So with everything starting to wind down, we can catch up on putting in supports and construction projects and mulching the soil. There's just a lot that can be done, especially on beautiful days like today. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed the look around the allotment sites here. Let me know how your garden is faring right now. Do you have snow or frost or whatever? Are you working it like I am as well? Let me know as a comment down below, because I'm really curious to know what everyone is having to contend with this time of the year. Next week, I'm going to be back with another video, this time back in the home garden. And work there has been slow but sure, and over the winter I'll be developing it and preparing it for next year's growing season. And there's going to be some interesting and exciting videos coming up very soon. So tune in for that next week. And also, if you haven't subscribed to Lovely Greens already, please do. I put out videos regularly focusing on organic gardening and natural DIY, soap making as well. I'm a soap maker as well. Thanks again, and I will catch you next week here on Lovely Greens. Bye for now.